All right. Okay, so hello neighbor, what's up? Okay, so I realize I have not come out with an episode in 2 Mondays. Okay, so what happened is that I had to make this application for YouTube Made For You program. That required I had to get up my subscribers from 155 to 520 currently as at today, Thursday, 23 November. And that took about, with a lot of love and support, and men's hearts just being open to me, and I'm so grateful to God. That's about, 8 days or so to accomplish. And I'm not a popular kid, so that really fills me with so much gratitude. So right now my own focus is to find content that hits and become so successful, like all those people that took their time, whether it's 30 seconds, a minute, to share it. Just make sure that the support they gave counts. Okay, so now that we're done with that, I'm just gonna go into today's story. Funny enough, this is not the story I planned today, but we're doing something which is coming out with an episode every day, like today, tomorrow, then Monday to Friday next week. I hope I can be fairly consistent, because first week of December there will be no episode because I think I have camp meeting, but I'll definitely after camp meeting week, the week after that, if I still don't have a lot of things that I'm busy with, I would do this again. But let's try it first and get feedback and see what works out, okay? So let's go. So today's story is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. So apparently I'm going to start doing books that are trending on Bookstagram. And one of my friends sent me an Instagram link of a book creator who's focused on Christian romance fiction. I was like, oh, my problem with Christian romance fiction is not that I don't read it. I read them a lot. There was a time I think I had my Christian romance 10th period. But the reason I don't stick to Christian romance fiction or just fiction is I can get bored if I'm on one thing too long. It's not just about Christian now, anything. I mean, I was in historical, now I'm fantasy. Now sometimes I'll just crave normalcy. So that's the thing. Sometimes I'll just crave, okay, can we do African? I am not at one spot. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, let me do small mystery. But you see, thriller and psychological, please, it's not this podcast. Mystery is as far as I can go. So that is it. So right now, this is fantasy, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. So let's go. Okay, so you've already seen the title, so you know that there's a magical doorway. Now let's start the story. The story starts with Iris Wino. She's 18 years old. So she was seeing her brother Forrest off at the train station because he was going off to war. He enlisted to the war that night to go and fight. He's 5 years older than her. He's so 18 plus 5 was the maths. That's 23. This war is between two gods, actually, Enva and Dakri. That's the goddess Enva and the god Dakri. This war is between them. So what happened is that Enva is now recruiting young men and women to enlist in the military. And she does this thing by she'll play a song, it will touch the heart, because what she's known for is playing a harp. She plays music to lead souls of the dead, back to the sky and to rest and things like that. So that's what she does. That's what she's the goddess of. Okay, and apparently her music can also suit hearts and things like that. So she's more of a musical goddess. Okay, and Dakri is supposed to be god of vitality and health. But when you see his actions in this book, it's like initially before they even said it in the book, I thought that this guy Dakri was like the god of death and war. He's just seeming so much like Aries. He's seeming so much like Aries in this setting, but let's just continue. So as Iris's brother Forrest is leaving, he now asked her, make me 2 promises. Make sure you stay in school, graduate, and also take care of mom. She ended up breaking both, but we're going to see why. Now let's describe a bit of Iris and Forrest's features, because when they are facing each other, they look like they are looking at a mirror. Obviously he's taller, she's smaller. You get, but then they both have hazel eyes. Hazel means reddish, greenish brown eyes. Then chestnut hair. Chestnut is brown, and then they have freckles. So Iris is a cute girl. You see how Bookstagram portrays her too. She's a cute girl. Okay. Now let's continue. So as this is the prologue of the book. Now, the book resumes in chapter 1. And in chapter 1, it's 5 months later, and Iris is working at the Gazette. She actually never graduated. She dropped out of school. She dropped out 2 months after her brother left. So she's been working at this Gazette, this newspaper place, for like 3 months now. So what happened that she even got a job there is that she won an essay competition. She didn't even expect to win because it was hundreds of applications, but somehow her own came out on top. The owner of the Gazette, Zeb Altry, that's his name, Zeb Altry, he wanted to give the position of columnist to this guy, Roman Seekert. But then he just thought this girl too is good, like Iris. Let me now make it a competition, like between both of them. Whoever writes better articles, delivers on time, I'll now make them the columnists. So the first day that what's her name, Iris came into the Gazette itself, Roman just looked up and down as far as she's not even a competition because she'd not even graduate from secondary school, and her secondary school is even the poorer one because he's a rich kid. He went to a different secondary school, Devon Hall. Why she dropped out of a poorer one, Windy Grove, because of this thing that this prejudice he had about her from day one. She didn't like him. You understand? And then his name is Roman Seekert. I already said this before. So because she doesn't know what the C stands for, so she now likes teasing him about it because she knows he hates it. She now be like, so what does the C stand for? Does it mean cheeky, churlish, cantankerous, childish? That kind of thing. Just anything that is C that is bad, so just call it to him, just to get a reaction out of him. Initially, what both of them used to do every morning and, every week is that they will race to be the first to get to work on time so that they can snag the weekly assignment. Because whoever writes more weekly assignments and is good will get the columnist position. So they've been doing this thing for like 3 months now. Iris has noticed this guy's writing because the first time they started this thing, she got the first one. But the second week, she deliberately let him get the weekly assignment because she wanted to see how his writing looks like. And then she now read it and it was so good. She's like, this guy good oh, how let me step up my game or things like that. So there was a time that she missed the weekly assignment. So, and anytime she missed the weekly assignment, she did not get it to write. She will now have to write obituaries and one other thing like that they call something. And obviously, writing obituaries is not an easy task because maybe some people can do it, and they can be cold and distant, but it's not Iris. She will not start reasoning who was this person when they were alive, what killed them, and she will now start feeling heavy. So, in a particular week like that, Iris was late to work twice. And her boss was like, I cannot have this thing. See, unless you missed the essay this week. And at this point, I've published 11 of Roman's own and 10 of your own. You have to give me an essay. Okay? And she now said, okay, that should give him an essay. And the reason why Iris was late to work is that her mom, Ashta, has been drinking. And this drinking heavily thing started after her brother Forrest left for war. So she was late because her mom was dying in a pool of vomit and she had thought that something happened to my mother, so she had taken her time, so she did not rush off on time. Do you get? This war began 7 months ago, this war that they are facing. So her brother had enlisted to the war 2 months after it started. Okay? And at this point, at the timeline of this novel right now, the war has been going on for 7 months. And it started after Dakri. Dakri was in an enchanted sleep. But 234 years after, as he was in the sleep, he now woke up. And he now started to cause havoc on humankind, lands, just to gain Enver's attention. Like, this is all Iris knew. She was like, why do they have feud like this? What is it between Dakri and Enver that he's always trying to get her attention and war? So she does not know why. And we don't know why yet at this point, okay? So, one time, Iris attempted to befriend Roman. Like, remember, this one not on good terms, though. But one time, she tried to befriend him by asking him, let's grab a sandwich. Like, as she was leaving work, he just turned it down. You don't even look upset from his typing, just like, I'm walking. She was like, she's like, who sent me? Who sent me work? So, after getting groceries, as she left on her own now, she now came out of the shop and she nearly slept on the newspaper. And the newspaper was Ink Reading Tribune. That's the Gazette's rival. there are two major competitors in Oat City, because the name of the city now that this story is taking place in is known as Oat. Just imagine it as 1920s setting. Like some modern tech is already coming in. I mean, there is a telephone, there is train, there is typewriter, computer is not out yet. There is some kind of car, not quite, but at least some version of car like the tram and things like that. Just imagine it's like 1920s, 1930s, but it's not like this our era yet, you get. So just that's the setting of this, but it's not like, because this is a fantastical world, but it has that feelings of 1920s, 1930s setting. So after she got groceries, and she now saw that Ink Reading Tribune in that city. Like I said, there are two major newspapers, the Gazette, where Iris and Roman are working, and then the Ink Reading Tribune. So Iris now noticed that the Ink Reading Tribune, that the headline is reporting news about the war, something that Autry, her own boss, is staying completely out of, unless it's involving missing soldiers, because the assignment of that week was write an essay about the missing soldiers. And this whole idea of writing about missing soldiers is not because he wanted to give more information. It's to make it that Enva is recruiting people that she's not meant to be. Like, he's just trying to make the goddess look bad. This is a Autry guy. So that means he's a Darkrai worshipper or sympathizer. Like, you understand? He's not for Enva. Okay? So we're still going to find out the dynamics of these two gods. Just stay with me, please. And then in that headline of the magazine that Iris read now, that Ink Reading Tribune that reporting about the war, she now read that Eitrals are spelled EITHRALS. They were reported to be seen. Eitrals are like wyverns. Wyverns look like dragons. The whole tail, they're large, this is that. But the difference is now, where dragons have like 4 feet, like 4 legs, wyverns only have 2. These wyverns, they came up in the story Fourth Wing, which we are going to do before the year ends. So just stick around. So these creatures, these Eitrals, they are meant to be mystical. And, when the gods were asleep now, they were asleep too, which is over 200 years ago and things like that. But as the gods are waking up for whatever reason, the creatures that are meant to be mythical are also coming back with them. You get that sort of thing. So this city Oat that our story is based on is an ancient god's grave site. Like they've literally built a city upon the grave of a god like that. So what it means is that some magic in the bones of the gods would seep into certain corners of the street. You can just turn by a street corner and you are seeing some magicy things happening. There are things like enchanted shops and houses. So it's a magical world. You encounter magic in unexpected places. Okay? So now, as Iris got home, she's found out that her mother, Ashta, sold her Nan's radio, Nan is grandma, to buy more alcohol. So in the privacy of her room, Iris retrieved her typewriter, or rather her grandma's typewriter that her grandma had given her before she died. She used to hide it so that her mother would not see it and sell to and use and buy alcohol. Iris was meant to write an essay, that essay that her boss asked her to write now at the office. But she just felt like writing to her brother. She has been writing to him. Initially, after he left, she was waiting to hear from him. 2 months, she did not hear anything. And that's when her mother's drinking got heavy. Her mother got fired from the diner she was working at. So there was no money for food or electricity. So Iris had to drop out of school to get a job. Do you understand? That's why Iris dropped out of school. And the thing is, 2 months after she did not hear from her brother, she now started writing letters. But she had no way to send it to him. So what she used to do is that she now started doing is there's this thing that her grandma used to do when her Nan was alive. They would write notes to each other. They'll now fold it and keep at secret places in the house, maybe inside the pillow, in the wardrobe, in the shoe rack, something like that, for each other to find. Just encouraging notes that you should just make her day. She was like, why can't I do that and pretend that my brother will get this message? So the first message she wrote, she slipped it under her wardrobe, only for her to come back the next day. She did not see the note. She was like, she will come back every day. Maybe she will write the letter again, slip it under her wardrobe. She's not going to see. She's now like, where's my notes going to? But part of her was like, maybe it's going to my brother. So let me just keep writing to him. So she'll not be pouring out her heart and letter, talking to her brother, asking how he's doing, what's going on, things like that. Do you get? She was just hoping that it was going to her brother. Then this particular day, a reply now finally came back. And the reply now said, this isn't Forrest. She was now thinking, if it's not Forrest, then who is it? Why is this person like not even telling me who he is? You know, that kind of thing. So the thought was bothering her so much that the next day she was nearly hit by a tram. A tram has like a track, more like trains have track, trams have track, you know, carried by cable, you know, powered by electricity, things like that. Just imagine it as a small train, but it's like a bus that at least moves around the city. So let's just take it that way. So it was Roman that dragged her because she was standing in the track rail. Roman literally had to drag her out. And then she was like, that she saw the tram, she would have been fine. You know, that kind of thing. She cannot come and start telling her rival that her mind was not there. And that day, she was wearing boots that were her mom's boots. And her mom's feet is smaller than her feet. So it was paining her. Do you understand? So she had to walk with style. Now they're about to enter work together. They both realized, they'll be in the elevator lift together. Somebody now mistakenly joined them. I said mistakenly because both of them started arguing in the lift. And the person had no choice. He was standing in between them. I was like, You know, that kind of awkward moment. So that's what happened. And the argument was about that Roman was like, why is Autry giving you special favors to write essay? Do you understand? Like, why is he doing that? That we're meant to compete for this position of columnist, fair and square. And Iris was just like, she just gave him one snacky reply like that and left the elevator before he can even question her further. So later she went to the library to research about the warring gods because she really wanted to know their history. You get, like, Enva, the female goddess, she's skyward. She's a skyward's god. And then Dakra is an underlings, like the, you know, inside ground, beneath the earth gods. These gods used to be 100 once so. But then they were now killing off each other. Boredom of immortality. They now reduced to 5. And these 5 were supposedly overcome by humans who gave them poisonous drink or something that is meant to put them in permanent enchanted sleep. But we don't know why they're waking up. Okay? So the name of the remaining 5 gods are Dakre, Enva, Mia, Mir, Alva, Luz. And these form days of the week. The first, Dakre's day, Enva's day, Mia's day, Alva's day, Luz, that sort of thing. Then Saturday and Sunday is called 6th and 7th day in this world. Please keep up with me. This is fantastic. I don't want to come and start explaining all the world and then we'll now get bored. So please, let's just be going with it as we are hearing, okay? As Iris went to the library to research about this warring god, she didn't find any information, okay? That night, because Iris had not replied that guy that wrote This Isn't Forrest, or rather that person, because she doesn't know if it's a guy or a girl that has been receiving her letters, why she was thinking she was sending to her brother. As the person I wrote back, This Isn't Forrest, she was just thinking about it all day. She now finally decided, okay, let me write back to this person. She was not like, so, do you make it a habit of reading other people's posts? And Roman on his own part now, because he's the person that had been receiving those letters, he thought it was a magical mansion. That was the reason why he was getting Iris's post. Because that was the time he was 15 years old. Because they live in a magical mansion. Like I told you that some places in the city are enchanted now. So the mansion that they are living in, his family is living in. When he was 15, he had insomnia. He couldn't sleep. That was after his sibling died, his younger sister. And like he had so much trauma. He was walking around at night. And then he'll notice that when he goes to the kitchen, a glass of milk, like lights will be on. You know, like a table lantern will be on with a glass of milk and his favorite cookies, biscuits beside it. So he was thinking it was a cook that was leaving it out for him until he found out that it was actually the house that was trying to comfort him. So sweet. And how Roman knew it was Iris sending those letters to him is because in her first few letters, she had mentioned the Oath Gazette and about competing for the columnist position. And he was like, oh, this is that girl. Because she didn't mention her name. She was just saying Little Flower. Because Little Flower is a moniker, like Moniker, like a nickname her brother calls her, or rather her entire family, you get, because she didn't like her name Iris. Because people normally, you know, initially would think of Bob, like the eye now. instead of the flower Iris. That's what she was named after. Because of that reason, she didn't like her name. But then her brother now started calling her Little Flower. So it's kind of like a sweet history. So the first letters that Roman received from her, he put it inside the dustbin. But one time he was walking till midnight, and then he was like, and also he said, "Doesn't say, okay, let me just pick these letters and read." That's how he started reading them. And he wanted to tell her that, whether it's in person, at the office, he did not have courage. And I said, okay, let me send her, let me send back a letter to her and tell her that it's me, Roman. Hey, it's me, Roman C. Kids, receiving your letters. But he's like, I don't want to embarrass her. So he was on keeping those letters in a shoebox underneath a floorboard. So, but then the reason that now prompted him to reply, "This isn't Forrest," is that night when Iris sent that letter, she didn't address the letter to Forrest like she normally would, because initially when this Oga was seeing Forrest, Roman, he was thinking maybe Forrest is a lover or something. But then as he kept reading letters, like, oh, her brother. And it was also curiosity that made him read that last night letter that wasn't addressed to Forrest like the other ones. And he was now amazed that, oh my God, this girl is actually a good writer, because a part of the reason he also started reading her letters is, she's my competitor, let me know how she writes, let me see the edge she has over me, that sort of thing. And he was amazed that this girl writes well, she can evoke readings and feelings in her reader. As Roman now got that reply from Iris, when Iris was like, do you make the habit of reading other people's posts? He now replied, I picked them up from the floor. Should I have left them there? So Iris was like, okay, send me my letters back. Roman was like, I can't. Iris was like, cheers, whatever, that sort of thing. And I'm never going to contact you again. So this is his chance to cut ties. To just be like, okay, let's forget that we ever had this exchange of letters. But instead, he was like, yeah, don't stop on my account. You can send whatever you want. I'll read them, Like, basically offered to be a pen pal. So at work the next day, Zeb now told them that Ink Reading Tribune, like that their competitor magazine, this is a gazette now, that they're offering war correspondence position. Like, he was like that. If they get that kind of position, they should not take it. They should tell him, in fact. It's true that the position is offering double of Iris's salary, but the risk is greater because they're going to war fronts to report news. So people in the East, Oats, like this Oats town, when the West, that's the people that Dakre is attacking them, like burning their lands and attacking people there. When the West had sent for help, that see what is happening, the East people ignored it as far. Is the West problem. They're the ones that laid them Dakre to rest. They should deal with it. Is now Enva herself, the goddess, that had to step in and start recruiting soldiers to go and defend and try to protect the people in the West from complete annihilation. You get? So part of what Autry is even banking on is the war won't reach us here. Let's mind our own business. War will not reach you there. Okay. Be deceiving yourself. Autry called what's her name, Iris. After that time, he now told them, don't take that Ink Reading Tribune position. Now called Iris' office and said, I'm giving you 3 days to submit essay on any topic of your choice. On the surface, it looks like that this essay is going to be easy. The main things I can talk about, means an open essay. But as she was now raising it, this guy doesn't want me to talk about the war. He doesn't even want me to talk about the myth of Dakre and Enva. So he just wants me to write something beautiful that can attract readers, but it's not about anything that truly matters. She was like, Shasha, finally, any topic of your choice is narrow. No, they look at it like it's a big thing. You get? So after work that day, Roman met her at the lobby. He noticed her limping, and she was like, oh, that he's carrying small in her head. And then Roman is so handsome because he's this person who has dark hair, this jaw, chin that is fine, and then blue deep eyes. And there are times that she's hating him, but she just gets so distracted, like, this guy is fine. This guy is so fine, And this is one of these moments, because she's just carried away that, oh, he notices I'm limping. Okay, he might be carrying. But then he now opened his mouth to be like, that Autry called you inside his office because he wants to promote you and not me. Like, he doesn't, he's doing you special favors. Roman now said, see, Autry is doing this to you, Iris, because he pities you. Iris, it's true, you're a good writer. but you're unreliable. You've been late this days. You've been missing assignments. So Iris was angry. So as Iris arrived at her house, her mom made a special dinner. And it reminded her of old times when her brother Forrest used to be around. Him too, he'll come back from work. He was working at one apprenticeship like that. In as much as Asha was like, oh, I made a special dinner, but what do you call it? One roast turkey from Iris's favorite restaurant. But then as her and her mom were talking, Iris and Ashta, Iris noticed that Ashta was under the influence. But at least for that night, Asha was like a mom to Iris. I mean, she listened to her talk about work and then was like, was it a boy disturbing you at work? Like, trust me, a mom knows. And she even helped Iris style her hair, like maybe make it more wavy and things like that. So that's one of those rare moments in this book that you see Iris and Ashta interact, and then you see that mother-daughter bond thing. So at his own house that same night, Roman arrived home and there was a dinner. And then, they had guests, one chemist and his daughter like that is a very icy cold blonde. And then his father announced to him that, both of you are getting married. Out of the blue, just like that. Now, how will they marry? Okay. Roman's father, Ronald Kit, is a complete, total wacko. That's how, I don't like the man. So all the man cares about is influence and recognition from older money more than anything else. Because Roman's family is old money somehow. In sense that their money started with Roman's grandpa. You understand? They have money. But Ronald Kit wants to be acknowledged by those older money people who are snobs and they don't care about you. And instead of Ronald Kit not to care about them, he's like, okay, we have money, but they're still not recognizing us. So let's get influence. That's why he pushed Roman to be columnist. Because if it's columnist at the biggest magazine in town, they're going to respect us. What Roman actually wanted to do was go to university and study literature. And now they've added arranged marriage to it. And this arranged marriage was all to Roman because, first of all, why are you not making me marry one noble blood's daughter like that? Why is the girl I'm to marry a chemist's daughter? He wanted to object the marriage because he didn't want it. Obviously, this arranged marriage being all to him, these speculations, he made it in his mind. He didn't say it to his dad. But on the outside, he wanted to object to the marriage. But then his father now said something like, you're my only heir. You understand, Aspa, I lost your sibling, so you're my only heir. And the way it is insinuated, you know that Roman had something to do with his siblings passing. So he felt guilty, and then he now agreed. Yes, I will marry this girl. As Roman entered his room, feeling all stuffy and panicky and all those emotions, he now received a note from Iris asking, what do you know of Dacre and Enver? And fortunately, Roman's grandfather used to be a writer too. Towards the man's last days, he had so many unfinished notes. He would start writing something, he would not finish it in that same document, he would write it elsewhere, so it's all over. But at least Roman had the bulk of his grandfather's unfinished notes. It was in his library somewhere in his room. So he was not like, okay, which part of this myth am I going to share with Iris today? And fortunately, some leaves fell out of a book, one of the books. He's like, okay, this is a sign that I should tell her this one. So he now spent a lot of time typing very long, because they're typing with typewriter. It's not like you can photocopy and send, but he now typed very long history, from the book now to gisted had the Dacre and Enver myth, the one that he had access to. And by the time he was now going to bed, it's 2:30 because of woman that he's hating at office. But he took time to write out this type of information just to keep updated. So what's this Dacre and Enver story? Are you ready to hear it? Are you sure you're ready to hear it? Okay, let's go. So here's the story of Dacre and Enver. Dacre is an underling god, Dacre underling, while Enver is Enver Skyward. She's a skyward goddess. So Dacre was bored of immortality, because they're immortals right now. And then he now met one of the normal people and was like, who's the most beloved skyward goddess, or god? They now said Enver. And then he now went in search of Enver. But instead of looking for her the normal way, he was too impatient. So he now sent his hounds to find her. Hounds can only move in the night. They're like big wolves, but they're much more scarier. And the thing is, these hounds will kill anything and everything in its path. Do you get? And he doesn't care. this darker guy. He doesn't care. But then when the sun starts rising, the hounds, they will have no choice but to retreat to the underworld or wherever it is. So he now said, okay, that he's going to send Atrails, these dragon-like things now, that is to fly those ones can fly during the day. So these things, they'll fly during the day, but just like the hounds, they will be dropping bomb, because in their talons, they'll have bomb. They'll be dropping and killing people and causing destruction just to find the Enver. He could have patiently gone in search of her. He did not do that. Now, what stopped the Atrails is there was a storm, so they had to return. So finally, Dakri now said, okay, let me walk some more. And so as he was passing the graveyard, he saw this woman standing there. She was in a simple homespun gown, bare feet, long hair, long dark hair, green eyes. He just overlooked her, because if you're looking at her once, she's just normal there. She's not like stunningly beautiful or anything. But as he wanted to pass, she now started playing music, because she was in a graveyard and she was now playing music to this fresh grave. So Enver's singing now attracted him, now made him know, okay, this is the goddess. Now came to approach her. Enver was like, it's your fault all these people died. If you had just looked for me, why did you have to cause all this destruction? That, do you get that kind of thing? So she rejected him, that she's not going to accept him. He now got mad. He now wreaked more havoc. So as he wreaked, Enver now agreed to come below the earth. But he did not know what her music was going to do to him down there. Okay? So, and this is where the myth ends. The myth Roman sent to Iris. This is where it ended. So because of he slept at 2:30 a.m. because he was writing this thing to Iris, he woke up late in the morning and he was late to work. And it's the first time he was late to work. But before he arrived at work now, as we were still waiting for him to come to work, Iris found out that Roman was getting married, because his dad, Ronald, has sent in an announcement that he was to publish in the paper the following day. And then as Roman now entered, Iris noticed that he looked upset, as if something was eating at him. So she stopped by his desk and congratulated him. But actually, the reason why she did this thing is Roman hates people touching anything on his desk. And to irritate the hell out of him, Iris makes sure that she touches something on his desk. So before he even came to work that morning, she touched things on his desk, rearranged it slightly, that she knew he would notice. Normally, he would notice and he would not look at her angry. But that day, he did not notice. That was how distracted he was. So when she now came to his desk and now said congratulations, he was startled. Do you get? And she noticed also that all day he was struggling. He was struggling with the missing soldiers article he was meant to do for the week. So out of nowhere, she didn't know why she just offered. She's like, okay, let me help you with it. Now let's go get sandwiches. So they went to get sandwiches. Each person paid for their own. They sat on a park bench. And Iris was like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I even helping this guy? Then out of the blue, Roman apologized for his prejudiced statement that first time she arrived at the Gazette. They ended up having a pleasant time, because something about he asked her to guess his age. That was when she now took time to study. So she was like, you're 19, but you have an old soul. He now started laughing. And she was like, oh, first time she's hearing him laugh. Oh, his laugh is nice, that kind of thing. And then she's not like, okay, so what about your muse, Aspa, the woman you're marrying? He's like, it's an arranged marriage. It's not like I love her. And then he now turned cold, Aspa. Okay, we came here for the article. But then she now helped out with the article, though. Aspa, she read it and was like, all you have are facts. There's no emotion in this writing. Okay, for instance, what advice would the parents of the missing soldiers give to others like them? How can the community help? These are things you want to find out. So she now lets him interview her for practice. And, because obviously her brother is also a missing soldier, he interviewed her, asked those questions that she told him that he should be asking those people he interviews. And she was like, but you have to be anonymous, with my identity at publication. So Iris went home, and that night her mom didn't come back, and she was worried. And she kept thinking, should I go out and look for my mom? Should I go out and look for my mom? In the process of just thinking about it, because it's late, she didn't know if it was safe for her to go out. Maybe her mom would still come back. Roman now sent a letter asking advice on how to make his life his own without letting others' projection of him come in. Whether others are seeing him as a failure or seeing him as a suspect, how can you just live your life? You understand? So she now tied back. She now told him that, see, life is full of contradictions. Because you've read all my letters, so you know. And as much as I am open, at the same time, I'm like, I want to keep to myself. Everybody has an ammo. And honestly, what I wish for the most in the world right now is that my brother was home. My mom is well. She's not drinking. And I'm writing what I actually like, not what these people are making me write. So she's like, here, I just gave you a piece of my armor. That one way you can make your life your own is just find a person you trust, give them a piece of your armor, and do the same. Do you understand? Like, she just said, see, just try to be vulnerable and really have genuine connection with people. That's really how you can live your life. That's how she's trying to. As at this time, Iris is writing to this person. She doesn't know Roman is Romano. She just thinks he's someone probably in the past somewhere or in the future somewhere or another place. She does not know, you get, because they're completely anonymous. So at 10:30, Ashta was still not home. So somehow she slept off. The next day at work, people were congratulating Roman now because news of his engagement had come out. And then Roman's eyes now jammed Iris's own at work. And then he drops his armor for a second. Like, she let him see that, Kai, I don't want this thing. Because if you're just looking at it at the surface, it looks like, you're congratulating me. Thank you. You understand that sort of thing. And Iris, when he looked at her and showed her vulnerability, she didn't know why. She probably thought, okay, maybe it's because of the moments we had at the park yesterday. She doesn't know that this is a person she's like, exchanging notes with, okay? So after this, a co-worker now approached her with a message from the constable, like the police, that, the constable wants you to publish this in the magazine that a woman was hit yesterday at 10:45 p.m. by a tram. That's train kind of thing now, small car thing. And she was wearing a purple coat. She was bare feet. She's yet to be identified. So Iris had a bad feeling. So she rushed out of the office. She didn't even tell anyone she was leaving. She took only her bag. She left her trench coat. Her desk lamp was on. The essay page she was working on was still coiled in the typewriter. And as she arrived at the station, it was her mom. Like, her mom was dead. Iris fainted. So she returned home at past midnight. She was haunted with memories of her mom. She wept herself to sleep. So by morning, she was waking up like to 11 or thereabouts. So she was over late for work. And there was persistent knocking on her door. And to her surprise, it was Roman. He came with her trench coat. She didn't want to accept any help from him because it was not like, how can I help? That have you eaten? And he was seeing the state of their flats, no electricity, candle melted everywhere, barren rooms, faded wallpaper. She's like, I can't let my rival say this. I'm fine. So he now left. But he's like, before he leaves, he has to hear that she locks the door because she didn't even lock the door. If Roman had decided to walk in instead of knocking, do you understand? So she's, as he said he's leaving, he actually stood outside until she locked the door. Before she now looked through and saw that it's when she locked the door that he left. Okay, so this story has gone on long enough. Tomorrow there'll be another episode. Let me go back to finish the book because I haven't finished the book. And honestly, at this point, what I think of the book is it's I like the fantasy aspect. I don't know if I'm feeling the romance. Okay, I am feeling the romance actually. Like, it's sweet. We don't know what will come out of it. But this is why I don't read war novels. I like stories that are simple, maybe a rival or something. But stories with war in them, they can get a tad bit depressing. But I like the fantastical aspect of this one. But see, I'm not a war stories girl. I really have to correct that in my book recommendations because I was trying to form I want to be literary somebody and let me start getting recommendations of war books like, World War I and II. I am not that girl. I don't like it. So I don't like depressing books. Books are meant to make me happy. Please. The world is sad. Let's face happy things, okay? So we'll see you tomorrow and we'll continue with the story, okay? Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Please tell someone about this story series. Let's get more lessons and see if we can start making money off this because it's necessary. It is. But let's say I had the money I was looking for. I would still do this because I love doing this. And thank you, really. Bye.